What's up, guys? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron, and if it's your first time seeing one of my videos, I'd like to welcome you to my channel where I do music reviews on albums and EPs and singles. And if you happen to be a deathcore fan or a fan of metalcore, or even just straight up death metal and heavy metal, I'd like to encourage you to consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon. That way you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And while you're at it, if you got anything you want me to review, go ahead and leave a request down below in the comments. It'll be featured on an upcoming Request Wednesday. But on today's Request Wednesday, we're going to be checking out the new self-titled debut album by Darko. Darko is a deathcore side project that was started by Tom Barber, who's the vocalist for Chelsea Grin, ex-vocalist of Lorna Shore, and the very, very talented musician Josh Miller, who plays drums for Emmure. They started this side project in 2020, and even though this is their debut album, they do have one EP that came out before it. And it's very interesting because while I do recognize the sheer talent that these guys both possess, especially Tom, I love his vocals. And while Josh Miller, I never really heard anything he did outside of Emmure, it's just absolutely amazes me how good these guys are together. I'm not a huge fan of Chelsea Grin. Lorna Shore's pretty good. The newest stuff that they're coming out with is also pretty solid. But even with Tom Barber, it's more the music than anything else. I was never really that much into the music of Chelsea Grin. They didn't have any songs that really got me all that much. And Josh Miller and Emmure, I mean, if you've been following my channel for more than maybe about 2 or 3 weeks, you'd probably know I'm not the biggest Emmure fan at all. And a lot of people try to get me to like him, but I have a hard time, even though I do keep giving him a chance. But Josh Miller, and he's just absolutely insane. Darko kicks things off with the opening song, Splinter Cell, where they literally welcome you to Darko. The harmonies and the melodies in the song are absolutely beautiful. On the other hand, Tom's vocals are just straight up nasty. The guitar and drums and the breakdown just pummel you, while the melodies from the synth hanging out in the background kind of make you feel a little bit more comfortable, but in a creepy kind of way. And the song is very aggressive, but the vocals seem to be almost showing compassion in a way to somebody else who has an opposing idea or opinion, specifically probably about just the way how the things in the world are going right now. The heaviness is kicked into overdrive with the song Fiend Dream, and yes, after hearing these first 2 songs, it's hard to believe, but it does get heavier as it goes on. The snarling vocals and the cadence just sound absolutely fantastic, and the melodies and harmonies and the chorus and the pinched harmonics kind of add to the uneasiness. And even though the different melodies and stuff that you get from the synth, it sounds very beautiful, at the same time it's very haunting, and it's almost like that throughout almost every single song on this album. I did do a review on Pretenders and Mars Attacks. It was requested of me, the same guy who requested that I do the review on the entire album. Pretenders is probably my favorite song on this album. It just hits so hard, and my first step going into it, so I keep coming back to it. And plus I love the quickness in the vocals, especially the Ben Durr feature, which is just absolutely amazing. Mars Attacks wasn't quite as impactful to me, but I do enjoy the creativity that they used and just the different things that they did to try to fit the sonic theme of like being abducted or like an alien invasion kind of thing. The song Donna gives you a little bit of a breathing room and a break from the aggression, and even though it's the 3rd song on the album, after the first 2 you definitely feel like you need a break from it. It's just something to break up the monotony of being growled at the entire time. And it's basically a love letter to Josh Miller's late grandmother, and it's very, very emotional. And hearing the contrast of Tom's vocals in this song going from clean to kind of more of a hardcore distorted vocal style, it really brings out the anguish and this emotion in the song, and it's very powerful. You also have kind of a slower song on the album titled Daniel, and I believe that Daniel is probably this album's gem. It features Courtney LaPlante from Spiritbox and also Johnny Reeves from Kingdom of Giants, and it's kind of cool to hear these 3 vocalists kind of duke it out. I was expecting to hear a different vocal style from Courtney. I was expecting her to bring her clean vocals to the table, but she did not. She uses her distorted vocals, and they actually sound more aggressive than Tom's, believe it or not. And Johnny, while his clean vocals sound so good, I just wish they were a little bit more memorable. They don't stand out quite as much next to Tom and Courtney's, but it is still an just all around just great song. The slam hardcore vibe and Praise the Sun is a cool change of pace. I love the long growls when that synth melody finally comes in the breakdown. And then in a way it's kind of calming, but then it just goes to pure chaos afterwards. And not to mention the outro is gnarly as hell as well. Pale Tongue feels like it's like a prequel or like a sequel to Pretenders in a way. Just musically is just how it sounded to me. The tempo changes and the harmonies in it make it feel like somebody's stalking you or something. And again, the outro, it just, the sounds that you hear don't seem humanly possible. The Last of Us and Insects come in hot. Last of Us takes a shot at people who really only look out for themselves, and the drums are on showcase in this song, but they don't really like take over the song completely. Insects features a laser gun and what sounds like to me an ogre in the breakdown. And it has the best sounding hook, or at least I guess like it's the catchiest chorus, I feel like. And even though the music feels like it's just all over the place, every time that chorus comes around, the vocals in it, it just has probably the only chorus in this entire album that you would consider catchy other than something in like Donna. It's just an onslaught of chugginess from the guitar and dissonant tones. If This Is Forever is a melancholy yet kind of comforting instrumental that leads into the title closing track, Darko, featuring Nick Arthur from Molotov Solution. Tom starts the song off by saying goodbye and then expresses his frustration for the world being so just cold and dark. Even though he's kind of tried to make changes, in a way it's also made him more calloused and cold and dark in the end. Nick's vocals stand out quite a bit in the little duet that they have, and I believe that the drum work in the breakdown is probably the best on this entire album. It's a good closer, and with the added feature from Nick, you can really feel the exhaustion. Like, they're frustrated, but they really portray exhaustion in this song, and it feels like leading all the way up to this journey, it's a good ending. Darko is deathcore at its finest. Every song is just super heavy and super brutal, and it demonstrates their talents and just how heavy and brutal these two guys can possibly be. However, I do think that it doesn't really add anything new to the deathcore genre. This just portrays how talented these guys are and how far they could push their talents, but I don't think it really shows how far they could push their creativity. I can't really fault this album for that though. I mean, it's just a side project, and you could tell these two guys are primarily in it to mostly have fun and just freely do what they want to do and just experiment with different sounds and things like that. I want to say that I don't think that they were out to set like a new standard for deathcore, but I will say that they definitely raised the bar on how heavy and aggressive, and not only that, but the lyrical content in this, it's very real. It sounds like it was taken right out of like either Tom or Josh's like journal or something. So with all that said, I gotta give Darko by Darko a 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this album. Every song I heard, I just could not believe what I was listening to, especially when you get a song like Donna or Daniel, which just sounds so different. I guess that kind of is their way of stepping out of the deathcore box a little bit and just doing basically whatever they want without another band telling them that they can't really do that. They could just, yeah, they could do whatever they want to do with this side project, and it's working out really well for them. But I want to know what you guys think, especially if you're a fan of Emmure or Chelsea Grin or even just Tom Barber in general. Since I'm not overly familiar or big fans of their main projects, I want to know what other fans think. So go ahead and leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Darko and what you would rate it. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a like, and I encourage you again to subscribe, ring the bell icon, just help support me and my channel and make me feel good about myself. And if you have anything you want me to review, don't forget to leave a comment below letting me know what it is. It'll be featured on an upcoming Request Wednesday. Hope you guys all have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you happen to be watching this, and I will talk at you guys next time.
I was